How can you attend West Coast Swing events for absolutely $0? When I started my West Coast Swing journey, I had no money, like negative money. And the way that I attended so many events, and I went to a lot of events in 2017 and 2018, was that I regularly was volunteering. Hey everyone, my name's Joel. I'm a champion West Coast swing dancer and village idiot. And today we're going to be talking about how you can use volunteering at events to get into a lot of events for no money. Let's check it out. Most events that you're going to attend are run by a team of 1 to 5, maybe up to 10, but typically no more than that people. Oftentimes, there's not enough people between the event team itself and the hired vendors who are bringing in the floor, lights, all of that stuff to set up all of the gear that they have. Many of these events are running on compressed timelines. So they might get into the hotel space at, say, Thursday at noon. That's when the hotel can make themselves available to them. And they have from Thursday at noon until Friday morning, when the event really kicks off and starts, to get all of that floor laid, all of that sound equipment up, all of that lighting ready to go. If you're someone who's effective and can help put that in, you're going to have a job that is going to, oftentimes get you a full event pass for maybe an afternoon of work. Teardown is oftentimes even crazier than setup, because usually if the event finishes up Sunday evening, by 8 p.m. they may have switched their Sunday night dance to a side ballroom. And in that case, the main ballroom is now in teardown mode. So you might start your Sunday night teardown at 8 p.m. and you might go until 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's something that you can do regularly and you can put up with that kind of schedule, teardown can also be a great way to go. And what I'll say is that teardown typically is faster and kind of needs more people than even just the event setup portion at the beginning. So that's floors and setup. Another great way you can volunteer is to be a door watcher. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most entertaining, but many of these events have ballrooms that need controlled exits and entrances. That means they don't want just anybody who's in the hotel walking in and out of their event, because if you could do that, then everyone could attend events for free. That wouldn't be great. So they want people who are there checking wristbands, looking at glow light up things, seeing if you have the right feather in your hair. I don't know. However the event is marking their attendees, there's going to need to be someone at the front door making sure that only those people are the ones who are in the room and allowed to get into the ballroom. Now, usually these shifts last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. And again, it can be a little bit boring to sit there for that long, just making sure that people show you their wristbands as they walk by. However, if you've got a Kindle, if you've got some schoolwork that you need to do, this can also be a great opportunity, because frankly, there's going to be usually large periods of time where there's people coming in and out of the ballroom, and then often there's like long stretches in between where you might have to glance up once or twice, but you can kind of stay in what you're doing. What I will say is that if you're a big social dancer, many of the times that they most need people to watch doors is during those peak social dancing hours of like midnight to 4 a.m. So if social dancing is super important to you, see if you can get in for like a workshop time slot. If you're doing door checking during workshops, that can be really nice. Or if you don't really care about the shows, you're not someone who like wants to watch All-Star and Advanced and Champions do their spotlights, that can be another really great time to volunteer. Another way you can help out: volunteer at the reg desk, right? At the beginning of every event, and usually throughout the weekend, there's going to be people who are coming and getting checked in, and they need to pay for competitions, they need to pick up their wristband, they need to work out that their last name says Smith, even though they just got married to Jones. Oh no, crazy. All sorts of things that are really useful at the reg desk. Probably you're going to be volunteering at reg desk while workshops are running. So if you love taking workshops, reg desk might not be the best choice for you. The other thing, if you know customer service isn't really necessarily your biggest joy in the world, maybe steer away from the reg desk, just because that's usually the most forward facing and customer, interactive part. Honestly, reg desk is, if you're good at it, it's one of the easiest ways to once again get asked back and to be asked about like, hey, can you come work so-and-so event? So those are kind of the three main roles that many events need filled. And then there are a bunch of other ones, right? There's lots of other things that events need. You could be a food runner. Their specific job is to go and get things for the people who are running workshops or on staff or are doing kind of the main roles of the event. That can be a really fun job to have. You get lots of interaction with pros and you get to kind of help people do their job, which typically then they're grateful for. Another way of helping out, speaking of food, is if there's a staff room at the event where pros are being served food or there's food that's out and available. Oftentimes they need help with cleanup, cooking, getting all those things set. And, might mean you get food for the weekend too. Who knows? Beyond that, there's, again, lots of little things that you wouldn't necessarily think of that can be really useful. If you're the person who goes around after every workshop and checks to make sure that all of the headsets have batteries in them, that might be a volunteer role. And you laugh, but man, when you're a workshop instructor, you come in, you put on that headset, and the batteries are dead, and you're supposed to be projecting for 300 dancers who are trying to learn from you. That can be difficult. So again, lots of just really interesting little things that don't necessarily fall into that floors, doors, and reg trifecta of things that are often done. Make sure that you are on time and competent for whatever things you are about to do, right? Because there is nothing worse than having a volunteer who is committed to being there for takedown and they don't show up. Do not be that person. Why? First of all, that leaves the event in the lurch. So now they thought they had people to help and suddenly they don't. Secondly, for you, once again, many of the people you're going to be interacting with as an event volunteer are important people in the world of West Coast Swing. They might be the event director, but they might also be a judge or a chief judge or a head DJ. There's no easier way to get blacklisted from ever volunteering at a particular event, and then maybe even from volunteering at other events, than to say you're going to do something and then not do it. If you do some of these volunteer tasks, how can you expect to be compensated? Generally speaking, and every event is different, but generally speaking, an event will have a number of hours that they've put aside that equals a full pass if you volunteer for that number of hours. So let's say that the event is $200 for their pass, right? Kind of a standard rate. $200 pass to attend their event. They're going to expect you to volunteer 10 hours in order to get that rate. So essentially they're going to pay you $20 an hour to do 10 hours of work. Now, 10 hours sounds like a lot, but over the course of a 3-day weekend, you're volunteering maybe 3 hours a day. And again, if you do something like flooring or takedown, all of that stuff, that's probably like a 5 to 6, maybe even for setup, maybe even a 10-hour chunk right there. If you can do 10 hours of volunteering on Thursday, boom, you have your whole event out in front of you. You can enjoy it all weekend and you're good to go. Some other events will have you at the beginning pay for your pass. Once again, because we don't want to have people who say they're going to do stuff, we give them a free pass and then they never show up for event takedown. And then afterwards, they'll refund you that money, right? So you do have to pay up front in that case, but then they'll refund the money to you. Beyond just the free pass, once again, you got FaceTime with some generally pretty important people in the community. These are people that work a lot around the circuit. And if they know who you are and they've got a positive association with you and your name, that's probably going to be a good thing for you in the long run. If you are someone who gets a lot out of social dancing and then you're there helping create these events that bring new people into our dance and just generally are really nice, that's going to be a positive thing that the community is like, wow, that's a stand-up person. Joel's a good guy. I'm not a good guy. But they might think that. One other thing I'll mention. If you're really good at floors, reg, not so much door monitoring, but especially floors and reg and some of these other things, you might start to become the core staff of some of these events. And if you're core staff, maybe that means you're getting your hotel room paid for free. The event director might fly you out there for really top level, awesome, consistent, hardworking volunteers. Events are willing to help you out with things. So to bring it all together, if you want to attend a West Coast Swing event for free, I'd recommend reaching out and seeing if you can volunteer for your pass, right? Volunteering will get you usually a free pass, sometimes even more. And at a minimum, it's going to give you a really great in with the people who are important in West Coast Swing and who can help you to find more opportunities to dance for even less. All right. So if you like this, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, a follow, all that stuff. If you volunteered at events for a long time, like I did to start, go ahead and let us know down in the comments below. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.